Hi, this is Luke with Swing Stronger, and today I want to talk about the heavy clubs and heavy maces that I've chosen to use for my workouts and routines. Now, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm just here to tell everyone what's worked for me and why it's worked for me. However, if you have experience with this, I would love to hear your story. So, by all means, please give us your input of what you found and what's worked for you. So, let's get into it. So, I choose to use adjustable weight heavy clubs and maces because I just find that they're easier to travel with, easier to store, and you have options for all the weight increments. So it's more cost efficient that way because with just buying one piece of equipment, you get access to all the weight increments rather than buying a bunch of fixed weights. Because if you bought a bunch of fixed weight clubs, that would get pricey pretty fast. So in a nutshell, I'm just buying one piece of equipment. I get access to all the increments of weight that I would need. And I do that instead of buying each individual fixed weight club or mace. So here's the first heavy club I got. I got this off Amazon. This is made in China. It goes up to 17 and a half pounds right here. And you adjust it just by unscrewing the parts. So see, there's threading here that you just screw in. And so it comes in, this is about 2.5 pounds. Then it's got 5 pound piece right here that I'm unscrewing. So this was a good option when traveling because it's light. And since it's 17.5 pounds, I was able to put 2 of these in my luggage when I was getting on a plane. So that way the luggage was still under 50 pounds. So that's why I traveled a lot with this one, and it was very convenient for that. So the only problem with this one is that sometimes when I'd be swinging it, the threading would get a little loose, and I'd have to stop in the middle of a movement and just tighten the threading a little bit. But it wasn't the end of the world, and it's still a club I use from time to time. Still a great piece of equipment, and it's definitely a good option for beginners because it's so light. So the next club I want to talk about is this one. It's made by ADEX or ADEX. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, but it's a Florida-based company in the US. So this one relies on a system of spacers held in place by this thing that unscrews out and screws into threading in the base of the club. So it goes up to about 30 pounds. So you can see this. So yeah, with all the spacers, it would go up to about 30 pounds. I think it starts out at around 6 or 7 pounds with just the base and the thing that screws into the base. But it has a bunch of spacers, and there's a few options for the spacers. Like this is like a 5 pound one. I think this is like 1 1/4 pound. And then you can see on the mace here, I have the other spacers on the mace, but they have a 2.5 pound spacer. So there's a lot of options to customize the weight increments, which is great. And it's worked for me. And it's the same system for the mace. This is the ADEX heavy mace. It's Mark Wildman's version as well. And it's the same system, just this thing unscrews out. So you can see this is the same system. It unscrews out. So you see you have got a 5 pound here, 5 pound, and a 2.5 pound, but I can use the same system for both the ADEX club and the ADEX mace. So it's interchangeable, which is really nice. So that just means I had to buy the base for the mace after I just bought the club and the spacers with the club. So that was nice and pretty convenient. I use the adjustable weight options. It's a lot cheaper than buying each individual fixed weight, and it's good for somebody like me who's frequently on the go. And that's why I came to the decision to get into adjustable weight clubs and maces. It's interesting when you listen to some of the stories of people that have been in this space for a while. Apparently, there didn't used to be as many options as there are now in terms of heavy club and heavy mace equipment. And there was a limited number of brands out there. For instance, Mark Wildman was telling a story about it. Mark Wildman is a personal trainer based out of Los Angeles, last I heard, and just want to give a shout out and thank you to him for helping so many people immensely in the fitness world, helping so many people with their routines, and also working with so many of these fitness companies to make great equipment, such as the version of the club and the mace that I have. So he's got a great channel. I'll link it. His story is that when he was training people years ago, there were only so many increments of weight available. So I think he was saying that there was clubs under 25 pounds, but there was no club weights between 25 and 35 pounds. But then from 35 pounds, it went up again. So there's like a pretty significant gap between a 25-pound club and a 35-pound club. And he said he wound up making his own club at great cost to himself, which is a pretty interesting story. But obviously, we've come a long way since those times, because now there's clubs of weights of many different increments, and there seems to be more and more on the market. So I hope that story was interesting to you, and I hope my experience can help some people. And I just wanted to let you guys know what's worked for me and why I chose what I chose. And just want to say that you should do your own research and see what's on the market, and comment below if you have something worth sharing that you think the community could benefit from. Thank you.